Hi, I'm Alex the Humanoid, joined once again by Michael. Oh, Michael, are we doing good?
This is a professional production
I have been doing this for years now.
for a long time.
Good. Yeah, so we're light on topics tonight. So if you have anything in the chat you want us to talk about, please toss it down there. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you're talking about, what you would want us to talk about. We do have a few topics, though. If you've missed any of our past episodes, you can catch us at youtube.com/IDENTECO. And you can hear me today. I think they posted the Taylor Swift Ticketmaster controversy that Michael and I discussed last week, as well as some news about Magic the Gathering. So, again, you can catch those. You can catch back episodes of Chaos Inc., where Michael is also a cast member. And all that fun stuff.
We do all right. We do okay.
We do okay. We will be back next week with another episode of Chaos Inc. Here on twitch.tv/IDENTECO. We'll probably do one more episode of ID After Dark next Wednesday, and then we will go on a brief holiday hiatus. So we probably won't come back until after the new year. So that's the plan going forward. With that, let's jump right into it. This broke about 35 minutes ago. So, Cavill is out. He's done. No more Superman. So anybody thinking he was leaving The Witcher to do Superman was mistaken.
I think Cavill might have thought he was leaving The Witcher to do Superman.
Maybe. Here's the statement from Henry Cavill. He says he has just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran. It is sad news. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October, prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. Changing the guard is something that happens. I respect that James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. For those who have been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but we must remember Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onwards and upwards. There you go. That got followed up by James Gunn tweeting, Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so that character will not be played by Henry Cavill. Somebody asked, please tell me this isn't an origin movie, to which James Gunn quote tweeted, no way. James Gunn says he is writing and has been for a while. They don't know who's directing yet. So there you go. Superman is gone. No more Henry Cavill.
We have a chat question from Chris.
Who's my fan cast for the new Superman? I'll say I'm actually gonna punt this one over to Michael.
Oh geez.
And I'll explain why in a minute.
I have not. This news just broke. I have not really put any thought into who else I would like to see play Superman because, to be honest, we've talked about it before. I think Cavill did a great job. I think the material let him down.
Agreed.
I thought Cavill made a great Superman, great Kal-El. I thought Cavill made a great Clark Kent when they gave him Clark Kent to play.
Yes.
But they didn't really do a whole lot of that.
No,
we didn't get to see Cavill really being Clark Kent. So I feel like there was a lot of opportunity missed there with him. I think he certainly has the comedic chops to have pulled off kind of the classic idea of Clark as kind of like this bumbling news person, right? Or at least the do-gooder news guy, versus the do-gooder Superman. And maybe that's me thinking about a little too much Chris Reeves in that particular role, but I feel like Cavill had the chops to do that, certainly, and he never really got the chance. So.
Absolutely. So, chat, you guys answer that too. Who's your fan cast for the new Superman? Because I'm kind of curious. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave that in a comment down below. I'd be curious to see what everybody says. I'll be honest, I don't have a fan cast, and here's why. It's not just because this is new news. I love when it comes out of nowhere. I would love them to, and I think James Gunn will, at least I hope he will. I would love for him to cast a really wide net.
I'd love to see it go to an unknown.
Yeah, and that's I think that's kind of where I'm going to, is I would love to see, if they're going to go young, let's find somebody who's 23, 24, 25, right? Clark maybe, you know what would be fun? We've never seen in a movie. Actually, this would be really interesting to me. I want to see Clark in journalism school. I want to see him in college, like trying to get his chops as a student journalist, like, you know, finding out about corruption with the endowment at the college he's going to and doing stuff like that, and really exploring how he develops as Superman, because I do think that's something that a lot of the movies have skipped over.
But I think that, to me, that plays, that type of thing would play better as a short series than as a movie.
It could be. It could be.
And again, coming back, we've Smallville was on for far too many seasons, probably.
Yes.
But when we talk about the things that Smallville did right, Smallville did a very good job of giving us like that development of Clark into a young man, into an adult.
And the same, we've seen it in the TV
trying to
shows.
Find his footing.
Yeah, we saw it on TV. We've never seen it in the movies.
Yeah, I just don't know that like the movie would be able to give you as much as you'd want, maybe on the back end of like from a story perspective and the development perspective.
Yeah,
because any movie that has Clark Kent or Superman in it is gonna be, unfortunately, sold like a blockbuster. It's gonna be sold with a lot of heavy action scenes, and like they're gonna try and that's what people think Superman is.
So I'm hopeful, because
I trust Gunn, but
that's why James Gunn is not afraid to do weird stuff. Hello, Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Right? Mm-hmm. The new Suicide Squad that he did. Guardians of the Galaxy. All this, like, he's got the chops to really try and do this a different way. So, chat also says a college story arc of Superman would be interesting since nobody touches on it. Yeah, because we skip from, in the films, Clark as a late teenager. He's learned he has powers, right? Talking to Pa Kent. And then he's working at the Daily Planet. That's it. Like,
well, I mean, and that's, again, we go back to the classic films for that, right? Because the Man of Steel didn't really touch on most of that. We see Clark as a young man. We see Clark as an adult, but we don't really touch on much of what Clark is doing as a young man, right?
Right.
We do get. Man of Steel gave us Fisherman Superman, which was nice.
Yes, it did give us Fisherman Superman.
Bering Sea Superman,
which I liked. I actually did like that section of the movie. I, like you, think the material let him down. I have never been a big fan of the Snyderverse / the current DCU in its most recent incarnation. I didn't really like Batman v Superman. I didn't really like Justice League. I very nonplussed about Shazam, Suicide Squad. Like, nothing has really hit it for me. I'm hoping that whatever Gunn and Safran decide to do going forward is better than what we've gotten so far. Because like you, again, I think the material really let everybody down. Affleck, Cavill. The only exception to that, I would say, would be the first Wonder Woman movie. And while we're on it, Patty Jenkins released a statement, I think yesterday. And apparently some of the news about her leaving has not been true. She's claiming, at least,
I did not see that.
Yeah, so I will read her statement, or at least
Mhm.
we'll get some stuff in here. So because this actually touches on Star Wars too, but I'm gonna speak just about the Wonder Woman stuff right now. She says, when there started being backlash about Wonder Woman 3 not happening, the attractive clickbait false story that it was me that killed it or walked away started to spread. This is simply not true. I never walked away. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. A lot of hey, thanks to everybody.
Mhm.
But apparently she didn't walk away, and it wasn't a situation of her treatment getting rejected the way that it's been put out there.
Okay.
Warner Bros. Is a mess right now.
But I mean, I get, until we're not going to find out more about that unless, either Pete Jenks or somebody else breaks more of that story. And, I think it really, this is the kind of the thing that happens when these projects go south, right? You don't want this to become a blame game, right? We know the project got canned. We know some people, again, the audience is split about it. Some people are like, great, no more Wonder Woman. Some people are like, that's horrible. That sucks. I wanted to see what Patty did next, right?
I wanted her to have another swing at the plate. Wonder Woman 1 was
exactly.
great. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was a good movie. Wonder Woman 84 was not.
We have a fundamental disagreement about that, and that's okay.
It was not as good as the first one.
It was not as good as the first one. I'll give you that.
And I think that I think that given her track record, she deserved another swing at the plate.
I would agree.
Right. She deserved to get a trilogy out of this. That being said, so it looks like the reports of them rebooting the DC universe is turning out to be very true. Now that we know Cavill's out, Patty Jenkins was told we're not going forward with Wonder Woman 84.
It sounds like I read that the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Superman project is still ongoing, and that
could be,
and that it's not. Well, what I read was that it sounds like that's still on, and that whatever Gunn is doing, whatever plans they're doing, like they're not messing with that yet.
So two questions for you, Michael. Do you think that rebooting the universe is the right move?
I think
if you're in James Gunn's shoes right now,
I think yes. I think anything James Gunn tries to do to clean up the Snyderverse and to put his mark on it, as it were.
Yeah.
We see this in business, we see this all over the place, right? A new person comes in and there's going to be a shakeup, there's going to be changes because that new person needs to put their mark on the thing that they're doing, right? In this particular case, we've got Gunn coming in. We know from Gunn's past, we know from the work that Gunn has done, what kind of things he can do. And personally, I would rather not have him shackled to what was before, like what the Snyderverse was. I would rather have Gunn and his creative team able to make their own choices and do their own thing, and make whatever they make theirs, and not be beholden to what came before. Because again, I think, like you, I feel like what came before was kind of a disheveled mess. And I feel like Gunn has the chops, the experience, and the ability to make something really kind of unique out of the DC universe, and not just copy Marvel's formula, and not just try to recreate this success that he's seen with Guardians and Suicide Squad, but to do something new with this. And I think he's got the passion for it too. So I mean, I'm here for whatever Gunn wants to try to do with this.
So this is going to sound weird, so bear with me.
Yeah.
I don't think they should do a connected universe at all. And I know that you are letting go of some opportunities for some cool stories like Justice League and things like that if you don't. But I don't think it needs to be a connected universe. I almost feel like the brand is better served by just telling stories. I don't, and what I'm curious about, and this is the thing that I say, like, you had Joker came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I wasn't a big fan of it, I understood that it, artistically it's fine and da-da-da-da-da. It's not my cup of tea. It is not in the same universe as The Batman with Pattinson. And I don't think it needs to be.
No, it shouldn't be.
Right? I don't think you need everything to be connected to make good movies and good stories. And so, there's a part of me that's just like, you know what? Just make movies, dude. Like, don't worry about a connected universe. Don't worry about any of it. Just make some movies. Because they've got a lot of repair to do the DC brand. Don't you think?
You're absolutely right. That's the trick. I mean, the last, we'll just say, 10 years of DC movies, right? Again, just like with the MCU, there's been some hits and there've been some misses, but DC unfortunately has suffered from way more misses than hits.
Yes.
Creatively and from like, I feel, here's the thing, like, the casting was fantastic for almost everything, but the writing suffered in almost every place. And even the filmmaking was fine. Like, Man of Steel was well presented as a film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was shot well. The cinematography was wonderful. Like, the effects sequences were great. Like, and I could say that about the rest of the DC movies as well. Like, I feel like they were shot just fine. Like, they were good from a presentation standpoint, but
mm-hmm.
they almost all of them just suffered from poor writing and this, or at least, again, personally, poor writing and the feeling that they were constantly trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was tangible. It was tangible in the product they were putting out.
We want to be the MCU, and we're going to try and get there as fast as we can.
The only time that you had standouts is when they took the leap to say, okay, we want to make this movie a little bit more unique. We're not going to try to do major tie-ins and tie in a bunch of stuff to this movie.
So Joker.
Or like with Joker, or like even the Harley Quinn movies, which are tied in, but there's such light touches of tie-in to
it's that it's in the same universe, yeah.
It's in the same universe, but they don't require you to have really watched or participated in any of the rest of the DC EU stuff to enjoy them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, again, helped those movies. And Aquaman was the same way. Like, certainly there were certainly tie-ins for Aquaman. There were pieces that tied in from the larger universe, but Aquaman as a whole, as a movie, didn't require you to have really watched much of anything else. Like, you could have sat down and watched Aquaman as a standalone movie and enjoyed it.
And see, that's the thing that I think that they got right in the MCU, is that until Infinity War and Endgame, which I felt you had to have some sort of background in, you could have walked in to watch Captain America, the First Avenger, and didn't need to have seen anything else. Black Panther, you could have walked into that movie and not seen anything else and not been completely lost. The first time, actually, it wasn't even Endgame. It was Doctor Strange was the first movie that I walked out of and I went, if you didn't watch WandaVision, this doesn't make sense. Right?
You mean Multiverse was the first one?
Yep.
See, I feel like there were other earlier movies that did that too, where, like, if you walked in without that prior, like, as the MCU was building to that for a long, like, that was a main focus of the MCU, was that if you,
but like, I think you could
if you watched even some of these connected movies, you got so much more.
You got more, but I'm saying you could have walked into the first Avengers movie and just enjoyed it as a film without watching any of the movies preceding it, and not been completely lost. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but
you get more out of it if you've seen the other stuff, but you don't need to have seen the other stuff.
I would say that, objectively, I can say, subjectively, I would say I feel like that you could do that with a lot of the Marvel movies. But I think objectively, like, for example, my spouse is someone who doesn't really enjoy these movies. So, like, when she would sit down with me on the occasion and I would be watching one, she would decide to try and watch it with me, like it was a lot of what's going on, who is that, who is this person, what is this, because there was a lot more things that they would reference and mention that it was assumed that you knew because you watched other things.
Yeah, I guess
so, and like I feel like as someone who did watch those things, I didn't catch as many of them as someone who wouldn't have seen those things and was like, wait, what are they talking about? Like, what's that? What are they referencing there? What's that mean? That's supposed to be funny, but what's it about? Like, what's that joke about?
Yeah.
Like I think there was a lot more of that than people realize because so many of us watch these movies. So when those things come up, we just know them and accept them.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's hitting a layer of our recognition and it just goes past.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas somebody who doesn't have that recognition is like, wait, hold on. What is this thing they're talking about?
I may have to go back and look again because I've always said the way, but you might be right. You might absolutely be right. I guess we'll leave it there.
Everybody take note. Alex said I might be right.
There you go. I wish James Gunn and Peter Safran all the luck in the world. I love the DC properties. I really want them to get this right. I think they picked a good team to pull the DCU together. But it really does look like we're moving toward a major reboot.
After the Pattinson film, I could go without another Batman movie for a while. Like,
did you not like the Pattinson one?
No, I loved it, but I'm just saying, like, it was very good, and so like,
I think they're making a second one right now.
They are, but I'm not the person that's like champing at the bit to like, oh, this movie's got to come out. Like, I've seen so much Batman in my lifetime, and I'm a Batman fan. I love Batman, but
there has been a lot of Batman.
There are so many other characters and so many other stories to tell.
So who have we had as big screen Batmans? We had Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, Bale, Affleck, Pattinson. So in my lifetime, we've had 6 big screen Batmans. Mm-hmm. So that's an average of one every 6 or so years. 6-7 years. You're right. That's quite a few Batmans.
And I mean, and again, like, as someone who enjoys Batman, I like Batman. Batman's got great stories, and there's hundreds of them. But there's also lots of other characters in the DC universe.
See, and that was why I was happy, because I'd seen too much Joker in Batman's. I was really, really happy that they focused on the Riddler in the latest one. That was my favorite part. Mm-hmm. So anyway, everybody, let us know down in the comments what you think about this. Yeah. It looks like we're moving toward a major, major reboot for the DCEU. I know they've got a few movies still on the slate, but it looks like Gunn and Safran have some time to get their stuff set up. So we will be curious to see where they go. But that's it. Cavill's up. New Superman hunt begins. Mm-hmm. Chat seems to be in fan of the reboot. So